Hello again, everybody. This is Donald Newman at the Columbus School of Chinese here in Columbus, Ohio. And today I want to continue our discussion into the Pinyin romanization system. Last time we learned that every syllable of Pinyin is comprised of an initial, a final, and a tone. Today I want to go through every single one of the possible initials and go through exactly how each one should be produced. Let's get started. So, as you can see today, to help me, I have what is known as an initial chart, or a 声母表, the chart of all the possible initial sounds of the Pinyin romanization system and of Mandarin Chinese. If you've been brought up through the Chinese educational system, this should look familiar to you. This probably exact poster is up on countless primary school classrooms throughout China. This is how you start to learn Pinyin if you're in school in China. So we have a bunch of different lines and columns here. What you should know, these columns are roughly organized by where you're producing the sound in your mouth. So everything on this line, your mouth pretty much doesn't have to do much movement in order to do all four of them. Same here, so on and so forth. You'll see that all the retroflex sounds that I talked about last time, they're all in the same column. They're organized this way because the position your mouth needs to be in to produce that sound is relatively similar. Okay, so let's start up here with the first line. These are all very familiar to us as English speakers. They sound like pretty much what they should sound like in English. So, 波, 坡, 摸, 佛, 好. You'll notice I'm kind of putting like a 喔 sound at the end. This is how they're referred to. These sounds, everything on this line kind of has like a 喔 at the end. Or you can kind of even hear a little tiny 喔 in between those, right? 波, 坡, 摸, 佛. If that little U helps you, great. If it's not needed anymore, try to do without it. B-O sounds like 波 in Pinyin. So let's go through these. 波, 坡, 摸, 佛. 很好. So these are the labials. They rely on using your lips to produce a sound. 波, 坡, 摸, 佛. Next. 的, 特, 呢, le. 好. You notice this kind of has like a after each of them. 的, a de in Pinyin sounds like 的. If something like this helps you as we're practicing producing these sounds, all the better for you. 的, 特, 呢, le. Once you've memorized the placement of your mouth and tongue, get rid of that. Try to look at that for as short amount of time as possible because we want to practice that a E after a D, after a T and L. Sounds like a 的, 特, 呢, le. 好. So far so good. Next. 歌, 科, 呵. So all of these have that E sound. 歌, 科, 呵. Still very similar to English. It's a little bit farther back though. So for example, our H is produced farther toward the front of your mouth. 呵, 呵, 呵. And the Chinese H and all of these, to be honest, all of these on this line are produced a little farther back towards down your throat. 歌, 科, 呵, 呵. You might hear someone really accentuate that 呵 sound. It almost sounds like 呵. Like I know Arabic has this consonant, some other languages. Ours isn't so far back. So when you're practicing an H in Pinyin, make sure it's getting a little 呵, 呵, 歌, 科, 呵. Next, we have 鸡, 七, 西. If you saw our previous video on Pinyin, You know where your tongue and mouth should be. The tip of your tongue is behind your bottom teeth. The blade of your tongue is up here. Ji, qi, xi. Ji, qi, xi. When we pronounce these initials, we usually do it with this E sound. Ji, qi, xi. Good. If you need something like this to help you for now, use it as long as you need to while you're memorizing how this sound is produced, and then get rid of it. How? Then we have our retroflex. We also talked about this last time we talked about pinyin. The tip of your tongue is up here on your hard palate. The tip of your tongue is up here. Zhi, chi, shi, ri, zhi, chi, shi, ri. 很好. So, we kind of have this vowel to help us produce all of these initials. Zhi, chi, shi, ri. If you need something like zhi or shi, something like this to help you, go for it. Get rid of it as soon as possible. We want to practice that the letter I after each of these, a ZH, a CH, an SH, or an R. Sounds like a zhi, chi, shi, ri. 好. Last line. Z, c, s. Okay? So a Z, as you might have noticed, it's more plosive at the beginning. It's almost like there is a D in front of it. Z, z. It kind of explodes at the beginning, whereas in English it's kind of z. It doesn't really have that real hard beginning. Z, 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 z. In Pinyin, when we see a Z, z, if you need something like this to help you at the beginning, think of it this way. Z, z, z. What this sounds like in Pinyin is z. So a Z-I, C-I, S-I in Pinyin is like a I sound. Z. Next. C. C. This C. A C by itself is like a TS sound. So what I tell all of my students is we have this TS sound in English, it just never starts words. So when we're asked to start a word with a C, for example, 菜, it's a little bit awkward at first, but with practice you also can produce this TS sound, 菜. It is the same consonant in the middle of the word pizza. So try to say pizza without the P at the beginning. C, c, right? C, c, 菜, c, c. 好, z, c, s, s. Good. Relatively straightforward for the S. All right. So let's go through all of these one more time. This is like the O sound. Bo, po, mo, fo, de, te, ne, le, ge, ke, he, yi, ji, qi, xi. Now the retroflex. Zhi, chi, shi, ri. 好, finally we have the I. Z, c, s. And those are the initials in Pinyin. So these are all the possible initials in Pinyin. A lot of them are very plug and play for us as English speakers. B, M, F, L, these all are relatively straightforward to us. As you're getting started with Mandarin, make sure you're paying attention to the ones that are less intuitive. The Q's, X's, ZH, the C's. The more you pay attention to them earlier on, the more you'll have an easier time getting your accent closer and closer to a native speaker as you go forward.